Naya lightsaber, but with black.
Yeah, it should be named after whatever the Nephilim is. It's like the non-blue Nephilim. That's what the deck should be named.
Yeah. Those are even Ravnica characters, right?
I'm not sure.
They're in the second Ravnica set. All right. Jun Yu goes first. Rootbound Crag.
Isolated Chapel for Glenn.
So you just put way more respect in a Rootbound Crag than you would in an Isolated Chapel. You would consider Isolated Chapel 10 out of 10, right? And then Rootbound Crag maybe third.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's about right. Glacial Fortress is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's just the way Magic works.
I mean, Drowned Catacomb has got to be pretty good.
Yeah, that's another good one. It's probably it's Glacial Fortress, Catacomb, Rootbound Crag, probably the top three.
Sulphur Fall's good. It's good, man.
It's okay.
Glenn Jones, come on, Farseek yourself. No, that doesn't look like a man who has a Farseek back.
There's a forest, but no.
I mean, going second and he Farseeked. Bad times for Sith Naya.
Besides the name being bad.
Jun Yu, what do you got?
It's like tap Temple Garden, and another Farseek.
Just nothing.
The second Farseek generally a lot worse than the first one.
The first Farseek is supposed to put you in a position where you're slamming down an Olivia or a Falcon Wrath Aristocrat or a Hunt Master of the Fells. Not another Farseek. Yeah,
and so, yeah, it is, this is what the Rabduls allow is you to cobble together Thundermaw, Hellkite, and Sphinx's Revelation, and some green cards without too much difficulty.
Base color green, Thundermaw, Hellkite, Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah.
Dot deck!
Not hard. Not hard to pull off.
So he's got one Planeswalker, Garruk Primal Hunter.
Loxodon Smiter from Glenn Jones. He's in the house.
Third turn. It's turn 3.
Boom.
A 4/4.
Yeah. What are you going to do about this?
Ready to rumble. Let's find out. The Centaur Healer. Come on.
Borderland Ranger, maybe?
It's a Centaur Healer. I can smell it. No.
Check your nose, because that's a Borderland Ranger.
Well, he's going to get a land and play Centaur Healer. That's what's going to happen.
What a turn. Searches up a forest?
Forest.
Yeah, good.
Turn 6.
Yeah.
Forest. Run, Forest, run!
And we are going to... Glenn giving a thorough shuffle.
Place Forest. Come on, Centaur Healer. There it is!
We can both be right.
Very nice. But that Loxodon can hang back.
Just chill out.
Any number of 2/2s and 3/3s.
I'm not saying
only one at a time.
I'm not saying the card's bad. It's certainly powerful, but most of the times we've seen the Smiter on camera today, he's just shows up to a party where what he's about is not what's going on.
Who's it powerful against? Your opponent Liliana's you, and you're like,
I think it's just good against the red decks. It's just big and brawls. It's fine if your opponent's up to absolutely nothing.
Does Kibler play that one in all of his decks?
He's a little more. I think he likes a Smiter fine, but he's a little more utility oriented. He doesn't like guys that just brawl.
Oh well.
Glenn's
100th turn Farseek.
It's a 4th. Both players spending their early turns ramping into threats they could have just cast during their early turns anyway.
Turns. This is gonna be a
settle in.
So he's got Isolated Chapel, Blood Crypt, Basic Forest, Fruitbound Crag.
Yeah, it's just a free for all, man. Just
one of each kind of land.
Yeah.
This is just all going to be fun and games until June plays Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah. Everyone was sort of setting up to have a good time, and then someone ruins it by just drawing 4, gaining more life. Does June have any big? He doesn't have Angel. He does not. So his big finishes is just Thragtusk and Thundermaw Hellkite.
He has Restoration Angel.
Sure.
That's actually probably like underratedly good with Thundermaw Hellkite. You get the 187 back.
Sure.
Let's see. So Huntmaster that fell. So June's got, life to spare.
Yeah.
But he hasn't actually produced real. Oh, actually, that's not true. He
Ooh, Bonfire for 2. Very nice. It's going to sweep up everything except for the Centaur Healer. And now, you may hold him back for a little while, but you cannot contain the Smiter. In for 4, knocking June down to 19, I believe, once it's all said and done.
Oh, I like that a lot. Undoes the card advantage. Oh, well.
Sure.
Mice.
So
oh, and his was a miracle, right?
Yes, that was just off the tizzy.
Glenn's like, can't believe this.
I think he's probably reasonably happy to trade his Smiter for a card.
You're just gonna give beats to Smiter every single shot, huh?
Oh, it's just this match. This matchup is just pretty rough for it.
Not where you want it.
Nah.
Lingering style. I wonder if Glenn does he have Tragic Slip in his main deck?
No.
Glenn was telling me earlier about when you're playing against Thundermaw Hellkite, you can't ever flash back Lingering Souls until they attack with Thundermaw Hellkite. Then only after you've used the Thundermaw Hellkite's own trigger to kill your Lingering Souls tokens, set up a Tragic Slip, are you allowed to rebuy?
Glenn very quick to chump there, and that's just to basically hedge against Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yep. It makes sense though, right?
Yeah. I like that angle. Here's a Thragtusk.
Here's some cards. We're just gonna cast them.
Yep.
At each other.
Eventually someone dies.
And right now it looks like Glenn Jones might be that someone.
I know, Glenn's got Ultimate Price plus Thundermaw Hellkite in his hand, so he can actually sort of turn on the Jets here at a moment's notice. I think he's just trying to play cautiously. I mean, these last couple turns, I believe he's been very conservative, trying to protect himself from Thundermaw Hellkite. Now there's a reasonable chance that the coast is clear. He would have played it by now if he had it.
So you think you can just start racing in, right?
I think we're close.
One of the things that Thundermaw Hellkite's really good in these mirrors is like it can just fight Garrick.
Yeah.
Just come in and beat up Garrick.
Glenn also looking, he has another copy of Lingering Souls in his hand as well.
How do you like Lingering Souls in this matchup? It doesn't seem very powerful to me.
No, I think I think in a lot of the similar mirrors it's fine because it just gives you some chump blockers and gives you enough time to deploy your threats. I think against a build with Sphinx's Revelation it's probably a lot worse because they're happy to play that sort of, all right, yeah, you take your time and I'll take my time and I'm going to do a Sphinx's Revelation at some point, and that's going to be way better than whatever you were up to in the interim.
Sure.
Glenn deciding on a course of action here.
He's got Thundermaw Hellkite. He's probably going to cast it.
I would assume, but he's been tanking for a while here. I mean,
One, two, three. What did he flash it back with? There you go. What did he have
mana floating?
All right. He's got a white float?
Okay. All right, we're good. So we're just casting all of our Lingering Souls this turn?
I mean, he doesn't have like hoof or anything.
Well, I mean, you get to make a lot of inroads on this board. If you souls now, and again, you can actually trade off with everything. If you're okay, so
I really don't like super committing souls. I mean, it just makes you so much worse against a Hellkite.
Or Bonfire.
That. Or that, sure. Man, I was gonna like complain about some annoying person starting to sing "We Are the Champions," but it was like someone I really like, so right. I won't.
Wes Wise was, it appears, quickly defeated in his match.
9 in.
Or 8.
8. Impressive. So,
all right. Guess what? Bonfire of the Dam still good in creature matchups. That has not changed.
So,
sideboard.
So June drew 2 of his 3 Bonfire of the Dams.
Yeah.
And had a way.
And he was reasonably ahead anyway.
He was like way more fortunate in the early turns. It's not like he was playing any kind of different configuration. Trivia time.
Who's gonna take this one?
All right. I've got one. Do we have to get him approved ahead of time?
Well, I mean, they can sort of veto from over that side.
What card?
And this is for 3 free months of premium.
3 free months of premium.
Yeah, hashtag SCG Premium. And we draw 1 at random. It's not timing sensitive, so you don't have to answer first. We just draw one of the correct answers.
What card did earlier today I call a Swiss Army knife made of lightsabers?
Too obscure.
Too obscure?
You can't assume that people have been watching the cast the whole day.
How about we reward the people who have been?
That's not how this works.
All right.
What 3 mana creature in Glenn Jones's deck has done pretty much nothing all day long? Hashtag that answer to @SCG Premium for your opportunity for 3 free months.
I like yours.
It's better. A gold creature. It's a rare from Return to Ravnica.
It might be 4/4.
So hashtag SCG Premium. Draw 1 winner for 3 free months of premium. A lot of Mike Flores content available to you.
A lot.
Like a trove. Patrick Chapin, Brad Nelson, Jerry Thompson, Todd Anderson, long list of
Reed Duke.
About
4 times a year, Patrick Sullivan.
Less. What again? That question is what 3 mana creature in Glenn Jones's deck has
done stone nothing.
Has done very, very little today. I mean, he's in the elimination rounds. In fairness, there's probably been a lot of matches kind of off camera where
it also did stone nothing.
It did some work, I assume, but certainly that match was another example of it. Showing up to a party where wasn't really invited to and sort of being awkwardly asked to leave. So hashtag SCG Premium. So going to the sideboard here, Glenn has, and this is where, I think June's configuration is like much harder to sideboard in. Under normal circumstances, you have cards like Silverflash Splitter, which is like that's awesome. Holds down the ground, locks up a lot of the haste creatures, gives me a great attrition game. But Sphinx's Revelation just makes that so much harder to justify sideboarding in those kind of cards.
And the other thing is, like, normally Glenn's plan against other Sphinx's Revelation decks, which he's been playing against all day, is to bring in slaughter games.
Yeah.
But that's terrible against a deck that can fight him at equal speed, that can also just, like, drop Host of Herons or something that turn.
Right. So I think Glenn's going to definitely bring in his 4th copy of Bonfire Dam.
I agree.
Another Thundermaw Hellkite. I think he wants 2 copies of Rakdos Returns. I think his Garrux are good here. I think his Tragic Slips are good here. He's got a lot of real action to bring in.
I think his Loxodon Smiters might not make it to the sideboarding game.
I suspect they will probably be replaced by
cards that do something.
Cards with utility, purpose
that you might want to cast.
That you would be happy to draw and then cast, I would assume.
So not a Loxodon Smiter.
Right, I'm gonna guess here. Although on the play, I mean he can get, in fairness, he can go Mana Creature Smiter and then that's a real thing. But that's asking for a very very ideal
It's a
draw.
specific thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think outside of that scenario, it's just not something you would want to draw. What's going on June's side here?
So he's got Selesnya Charm, that's good against Thundermaw Hellkites as well as Thrag Tusks. Detention Sphere, maybe probably not, right? There's a lot of cards that are the same between two decks.
Yes.
Oblivion Ring, maybe. Do you think Acidic Slime could be good? Mess up mana? No?
I think it's probably pretty low impact here. I think most of Glenn's ability to attack is going to come from being in the air, and so Slime doesn't do very much in that
Host
kind
of
of
Heron's probably pretty good though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So I think maybe just Host of Heron's. Zealous Conscripts. I don't think June has enough initiative that Zealous Conscripts is always going to be great.
Yeah, and the ground just gets we've seen these games before where conscripts is just very hard to use effectively because the ground just gets gobbled up. Like the ground gets clawed. People have gained life over the course of the game through Thrag Tusk and Central Heal.
Or there's just random bodies too.
Yeah, it's just very hard to get the threaten your guy and now I'm in for 10 and I win. It's not the way these games play out.
I used to think out 2 Central Healer into Host of Herons.
Yeah, that seems like a huge upgrade.
So June's just not bringing very much stuff in.
I don't think so. I think his deck's very well set up for the matchup.
I would tend to agree. And he didn't even play a Sphinx's Revelation last game.
No. He just sort of, he has Bonfire too. He's got, just a ton of haymakers in this kind of matchup. Glenn definitely looks like he is fighting uphill. Not sure what our delay is. Maybe players allowed to review deck lists during sideboarding, I think is the thing.
That would be a convenient rule.
I believe, I believe the last time in LA they let me we were able to look at deck lists during sideboarding, so I believe that is the case. Glenn always a font of positive vibes, and this is no different currently.
June doesn't look happy either. I mean, maybe I'm just a happy guy usually, but if I just won the first game, I'd be like, I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't ever smile either. It affects your body language technologies.
Yeah, just can't ever let him know that anything's going on upstairs. So we have some delay here. It actually looks like both players have a starting hand laid out too.
Maybe they're waiting for the TV camera. Tech issue.
We have a tech issue. Okay, so momentary delay here.
The tech issue is that one of these 4-color decks has Sphinx's Revelation.
It's a huge technology issue.
We had to consult Aaron Forsyth on this.
Yeah.
Massive technology lapse.
Yeah. Lingering Souls v Sphinx's Revelation, assuming the two decks are otherwise structured similarly, I'm going to err on the side of Sphinx's Revelation.
I would agree. I mean, and one of the decks has Lockdown Smiter, let's be honest.
I mean, the other guy, the Central Healer is not that much better. It's just, Glenn's got 4 Smiters. And June's got just more hits in the sideboard, too, I feel like. Host of Herons is no joke.
No. Unkillable.
Yeah, just unkillable.
Brawls.
I'm surprised that card hasn't seen more main deck traction at this point.
That's a good card.
Yeah, it's real good. Yeah, I guess we had an issue with the judge's laptop not functioning correctly, so.
I think we're probably going to get to a point where people play 4 Hosts of Herons in the main deck. It's so much better in the Bantish decks than Thragtusk a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's bigger butt, can't be targeted by an ultimate price. There's so many reasons that an ultimate price can't kill it.
Yeah.
And but 2 is enough.
Generally just the 1 is enough.
Just the 1 was actually enough.
But the 2 is more than enough. Glenn is so enthused, so excited about his top 8. Just barely keeping his eyes open. And now
he's literally napping.
The full collapse.
June's like, oh, do I win if my opponent sleeps through the rest of the match?
Yeah.
And the judge tells us yes, he would win.
I think we are almost back on here.
They can go.
Go time.
believe we have all of our issues resolved. You can see Jeremy in the background there. An unsung hero of the Star City Games coverage process.
Heroing it up,
Yeah.
but with no song. What is that? That's like Bush League.
I like that play a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like Bush League plays?
Get out. Turn 1 Addison's Pilgrim. Oh my god.
And
We drew our combo. We got him on the play. All right, here we go. Could be good this game. That's our draw.
P-Sully's actually got steam coming out of his ears
No,
right
it's
now.
fine. Like I said, I mean, certainly it's way more justifiable on the play. This is the ideal draw for it, too.
Yeah, especially if you draw the first turn accelerator.
Yeah. This is all. It's not going to get any better than this, that's for sure. So,
What is he got? He's like an elephant soldier.
Elephant Shaman, maybe? Although the second land from Glenn being a Wolf Run sort of implies he might be land light. Usually you want to sandbag that one. Although I guess it's a little bit different now. That used to always be the case. Now with Ravnica duels, it's you sandbag those because you ideally want to drop them in spots where you.
Oh yeah, where you're not taking any downside.
Yeah, so it's not as obvious as the case. You know, pre-Ravnica duel land standard, I would have definitely said that's probably Glenn's only land in his hand, or he has other colorless lands. But now with the duels, I guess it's a little more.
Yeah, I mean you'd
less
rather
clear.
play that.
It's got a mace. It's got some
No,
armor.
it's like a hammer, dude. It's not a mace.
A mace is a hammer.
No, a mace is like round on top.
Oh my god. Getting the Dungeons and Dragons lecture from you now, huh?
I gave it to my kids. This is what does D6. This is what does D10.
All right, Smiter plus Pilgrim in.
5 so he's just the beat then.
Yeah.
Is that my iPad? Did it ring?
I don't know, man. Basic Island from June. And Hunt Master of the Fells.
So that's doesn't outclass the Loxodon Smiter or anything.
He's got a Thragtusk in his hand, too.
The same quality of cards.
That's approximately this. All right, so June not willing to trade, willing to take another shot from the Smiter.
What's he gonna do? You make an elephant?
Yes, I would. Yeah, it looks like we're making a 3/3.
And just gotta defend, right? And then
Yeah. This would be a very good turn for Bonfire of the Damned.
agree.
Nope.
Agree substantially.
So yeah, Garrick is definitely going to get. I guess he can just pick it off right now.
So
I have to assume we want a Thundermaw. We had to want a Thundermaw here. We just had to get that Garrick off the table, right?
I certainly would not want him to draw 4.
Yeah.
Which I think he might just draw 4 and
Yeah.
not be killed.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I understand. June would much rather
Kill Glenn, yeah.
or play his Thragtusk and just lock up the ground a little bit here, but I wonder if June is now regretting not having doubled up on the Smiter last turn. Now at this point, I think you presumably. Okay, we're
Chump
just
block?
shoving. I kind of like double blocking on the. The Centaur because it just forces him to use his turn, Wolf running over, and now your Thragtusk aces his.
Or not. I mean, he can just accept the block and then play his 5 anyway.
Okay, yeah, but then you now you have a 2/2 to block again.
He can engineer this into a flip. He's gonna take out Avacyn Spellgrim.
I think he just has to play his Thragtusk this turn. I don't think he can. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I just don't think he has that kind of breathing room right now.
Because it's 4 creatures against 2, and 2 of those creatures are pretty sizable. 3, even.
Yeah, and he's got Wolf Run in play too. Like June has to attrition out the board a little bit here. And ideally, it's so bad for him to leave the Thundermaw back on defense because the Wolf Run makes it so easy for Glenn to go over the top. Yeah. So I think your ideal situation is just to start cracking in with the Hellkite and hopefully being able to defend yourself with kind of your other tools.
No, he didn't make the play. He's gonna make the flip. Just kill the Pilgrim.
I mean, if June has Restoration Angel in his hand, this is a totally serviceable play.
Yep.
He's going to put 2 on the Smiter.
Interesting. That maybe Selesnya Charm.
Selesnya Charm plus Restoration Angel?
No, like if he puts 2 on the Smiter, you can just throw Selesnya Charm in front of it and it'll die in combat.
No, sure, I understand. Yeah, but again, with his life total pretty low and Glenn having Wolf Run in play, June has to value every creature Glenn has as a threat. And the mana matters too.
Killer, right?
So in my mind, the incentive to kill Avinson's Pilgrim right there is through the roof for multiple reasons.
I agree. I would have done that.
Glenn needs mana, and he just needs creatures in play. And shooting the Smiter just signals something's up. Like even if he wanted to, Glenn could just not attack with it if he's suspicious of some sequence like what you're describing.
Or maybe it's a bluff. But I don't think it's a very good bluff because
it's hard to bluff Glenn's deck because all he has is creatures.
So
yeah, it's hard to bluff Glenn's deck because he only has creatures to attack with. It's not like he has a different line he can take once you. Oh, something's up. I guess I'll block instead. It's like that's all. That's all the deck can do. It can attack or it can block.
both got a bunch of cards.
I guess this play very strongly represents Restoration Angel, because then if he Restoration Angels the Hunt Master, then he has a token that he can put in front of the Smiter to finish it off. Yeah, and Glenn senses the same thing.
Yep.
A little more breathing space for June.
Gain a little life.
Yep.
Make a little wolf.
And if he's, I think he just drew another Thragtusk, which means I believe we have enough breathing space now, going up to 17, where we can start shipping
the 3/4
and the Thundermaw. I think we can actually start getting him with both flyers.
Oh, okay, yes, of course. If he has an additional Thrag, yeah, he's pretty locked.
Yeah,
down,
he's got a
Thragtusk can go in front of Thragtusk. Is that Borderlands?
Yeah, it's a Borderland Ranger.
Is he looking for something special?
Probably not. All right, there's the Plains.
Shuffling.
Yep. Yeah, I think June definitely has to try to pick a spot to at least get in with Thundermaw Hellkite. If you had to leave Restoration Angel back on defense, because it lines up pretty well against Centaur and Pilgrim and Thragtusk, I understand that, but
well, it's only a 3-turn clock if he sends for 8, right?
Yeah, he might not be. Yeah,
yeah,
he might not.
4-turn clock.
I was working under the assumption that June was going to be playing Thragtusk this turn, and then I think he has enough breathing space where he can start sending both of his flyers. But the way things currently stand, I think he definitely has to try to get something. He's got to start sending in something. Because
I agree.
Glenn's board's getting, it's pretty precarious.
He doesn't look like he's going to, though. It's the body language of someone who's about to push.
He's passing the turn back.
Shit.
Also, Glenn has like Bonfire in his deck too. I guess Bonfire just kills him no matter what, but it's again more of an incentive to just try to do something quickly here.
The lockdown on Smiter's been really productive this game.
It's about as good as you could hope for.
Got it in once. Okay.
All right, Garrick is going to be a draw 5 here.
That's very powerful.
Yep. Although, it does give Drune a little bit of breathing room this turn.
Because he tapped a bunch of mana, didn't
Yeah.
actually advance his board.
Right. And now we're, like a bonfire could be devastating for if, I guess either player finding a bonfire is just devastating, but
What's being discussed? Something interesting?
not positive.
The price of tulips.
A Selesnya Charm. So yeah, June can cast Thragtusk and leave up Selesnya Charm. So Thragtusk pulling him up to 17.
And he's
All right,
got to
we're-
start swinging
yeah.
in the air. You're right. Like the. This
I
is
mean,
su-
after the draw 5, you can't let this game go on for
this
too
is
long.
sufficiently gummed up.
All right, yeah. I like this attack quite a bit.
I agree.
There we go.
1,000,000% I agree. So I mean, it's a 4-turn clock, right?
Yeah.
But he might just get random 2 points from the Huntmaster of the Fells. So that'd be like 7.
Tough for him to get random points with the Huntmaster now with Glenn having a 7-card hand.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. How much mana does Glenn have here?
Excuse me?
How much mana does Glenn have here? He has a bonfire in his hand. He can bonfire for 3. I assume he has enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, for 3 total. So that would mess up the Thragtusk, kill the Wolf, kill the Borderland Ranger, kill the Huntmaster, and leave the Flyers.
It's a lot of damage.
But it would eliminate every ground blocker except for the Detritus on the Thragtusk.
All right, so yeah, we're
So-
bonfiring for 3.
Certainly in Rumble mode, right? Everybody except for that Avacyn's Pilgrim's going to send.
Well, I think so. Our Thragtusk is down here, so
So
probably fine to send the Pilgrim too. It seems unlikely that
he would just block the Pilgrim
that he has that kind of
for
breathing
card
room.
advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, because he just took a bunch of damage too. Like he's going to also take 3, go down to 14. That's 5, 10, 15. It's actually more than lethal. He can't block the
5,
Pilgrim.
12.
So he's like,
Well, he has a Selesnya Charm in his hand, so he can
oh, shoot one of the Thragtusks.
Right.
Or that's actually better than making a blocker, I think.
Glenn
7.
Glenn also has Rakdos Returns in his hand, so he can.
Oh, Dome for the kill. And you are correct. He sent the Pilgrim. Maybe I'm correct. He's thinking about it. Yep, there it is.
So how much? We have 5.
I think it's like 18.
We have a Searing
Searing
Spear to
Spear.
take down a Thragtusk. I mean, I guess you block the Thragtusk here because it leaves you in a spot where if you draw
Detention Sphere?
Bonfire.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think Glenn has him covered anyway because of Rakdos Return, just fireballs him out next turn.
And he's just reminding him that these unblocked guys.
No, actually, no. He's actually if he draws Bonfire, he's actually fine. That's not Bonfire.
But he's at 6 and there's
Yeah, that had to be Bonfire.
13 damage in play, 13 availables. Oh, goes a long way.
Yeah, I think Rakdos Returns is still going to seal the deal here.
Needs to hit for 11.
Yeah, Glenn's hands has got a lot. He's got an Oblivion Ring too. I mean, he's got a lot going on.
So June, no swing this time. He's acutely aware of his mortality.
Yep.
So you think just like Rakdos Return for 6 or whatever, right?
That's how I would start the turn. At least you get the cards on the table, and you can attack or not as appropriate.
Well,
I guess no, you don't want to start there because you want to have your wolf run at the ready in combat first.
tapping what? 3. Rectus return.
That's for 4.
6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spare. Right? He tapped that Avis's program. I like this prior to combat as well because it takes all of the tricks away.
Yeah. The thing is, yeah, this is just, it's rough because now he doesn't have his wolf run at the ready, and June has, so now we're still, Bonfire's still live. Yep, and Glenn knows it.
Why wouldn't he have sent then?
Because now with his wolf run tap, it like June's blocks are insane that turn, right? He sends everything, and it's like, all right, Thundermaw in front of Smiter, Restoration in front of Token, Thragtusk in front of Token, and Token chumps a token, and nothing of June's dies, and Glenn loses everything, and if he doesn't have another Fireball or Haste Guy in his hand.
And another Thragtusk.
Yeah, I mean, he's still plugging away here. I still feel like June should be a little more. I feel like he's settled into
close
this.
it out.
I think he's settled too much into like, I'm on the defensive, so I'm going to chill back and wait here. And I think he needs to. You know, he's given Glenn a lot of time to sort of set up his shop here. In part
I agree.
Because, you know, he's played very conservatively with his flyers. There were some turns where that was correct, but I do think there was at least 1, maybe 2 spots
They
where
should have sent for 8.
Yeah, or 5 or something, gotten some damage in.
Glenn looks like he has Restoration Angel in hand. Does he have any good 187s left?
You know,
Thragtusk.
Glenn is still pretty heavily exposed to Bonfire. I mean, he's not.
And
Oblivion Ring for the Thundermaw.
Interesting.
Bonfire of the Damned.
This is like an
Probably not.
animated gift to be for you. Like, come on, Bonfire. Does he have unmatched Resto Angels?
I'm not sure.
Oh, no, that's a token. For a second, I was like, when did that happen?
Yeah, June's still
So-
now I believe correctly sitting back on defense.
Well, especially with his Thundermaw gone.
I believe Glenn just drew a second copy of Rakdos Returns, so I assume we can just.
Yep. 100 you. 6.
Another 6 spot.
Puts him to 3. And 1, 2,
Another discards a Wolf Rod.
4.
That's got to be lethal now, right? We have 5 attackers.
Think so.
Yeah, all his attackers are lethal.
There's only 4 blockers.
And there's 5 dudes.
And there's no hidden information anymore, right?
No, we just Rakdos
All
Return
done.
him. Pretty sure the coast is clear.
Is he just passing?
Do we maybe not have the life totals right?
And
Okay.
nope, game. Rakdos return is sweet.
Yeah, definitely awesome at breaking up the when the board grinds down a little bit, getting all of that Restoration Angel, Thundermaw, Hellkite, Thragtusk, any of the shop he's trying to set up, Sphinx's Revelation, whatever.
I mean, it's just a fireball, though.
Yeah.
Good enough.
I'm a little surprised Searing Spear was still in June's deck. It's just not. There's really no juicy targets in Glenn's deck.
I mean, it does take off half of a Thragtusk, right? What
guess.
else does it do?
I guess, but June's deck has so many ways to just sort of ignore or trade with a Thragtusk. It's not like he's hurting for ways to trade with half of Thragtusk.
But remember, he's the guy who has Sphinx's Revelation. So if you believe that you can fuel up extra, then maybe going down a card to deal with half of your opponent's best threat is acceptable.
Yeah, maybe. It's just, it strikes me as like very low impact, and it was in his hand basically the whole game there, and he really struggled to make use of it.
Also remember, Glenn's got Avacyn's Pilgrim, and maybe just shooting his Accelerator is what is on June's agenda.
Yeah, but that's a very tough line to take on the draw. I mean, on the play you can leverage that a little bit better, but
just thinking maybe he's only got one. We don't know.
Yeah. He might have cut a lot of them, sure. So do you sideboard it any differently whether you're on the play or the draw in these matchups?
I don't think so. I think that Glenn's sideboard cards showed up and they were great.
Oh yeah, they were awesome.
June doesn't have any that we really were, where it's like, oh, I really want X, right? He's just got Host of Herons, which wouldn't have saved him. Oh, maybe. How would it have done in that spot? No, right?
It would have been another valuable body. That certainly wouldn't have been bad.
Just a 5/5 body and a flyer.
Yeah.
I think that even with potential missed attacks on the part of June, not even 100%.
Yeah, it's not clear.
It's not like he was going to win if he had gotten one more attack in. There was enough margin that Glenn had.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not even super clear based on whatever cards June might have been trying to play around or whatever.
Did June go completely undefeated in the Swiss? Did he played every round and he won every round?
We can go to the tape. As standings after round 7.
Where he was 7-0. And we have standings after.
Yeah, he just 9-0'd.
Wow. Looks like the end of the line.
Yeah, Actually just ran it straight through. Pretty impressive.
You like that?
Just playing the last round because whatever.
Yeah, it's very Ryan Fuller.
Yeah. Well, let's not denigrate poor June over here. that comparison. But yes, it's a very
exactly very Ryan Fuller.
Yeah, it's a very confident thing to be doing. I mean, it's possible, I guess. I don't know. Maybe his opponent wanted to play. Now with the way that the play draw rules and the elimination rounds work, right? it actually matters. And if his opponent wasn't willing to draw, then maybe he certainly can't concede there. He wants to lock up the first seed.
Yep.
So,
how do you feel about the play draw in the top 8 rule? I like it.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a big fan of anything that causes people to actually play out the end of the Swiss rounds instead of the top tables all having empty seats. It also incentivizes people to not concede to people, like not pack people into the top 8. And then I think the tournament's just more fun and more dramatic when more people are alive going into the last round of the Swiss.
It's also one of the rare rules that actually helps to reward people who are doing better.
Yes.
Like a lot of the rules, like oh, well, the rules that way and it helps people do it. Actually doesn't actually do that. It just, like the way the tiebreakers work, right?
Right.
Like, you're not really a worse person because you lost in the first round instead of like the 6th round. It's
right. It's just arbitrary.
I mean, maybe there's some correlation, but maybe you're just mono-screwed in either case.
Yeah.
So Glenn shipping to 6, is that it?
No, because I don't think June has a handout yet.
I see.
I think he's just being thorough. I mean, I would arguably like a system better where, the people who, the records were some bubble in and some bubble out. It was actually just drawn out of a hat instead of having a tiebreaker system because they're both completely arbitrary.
Why not just have a playoff system?
Because you don't want to add another 2 hours to the tournament deciding who are going to be the 7th and 8th seeds of your 7th through 12th place finishing people.
I kind of like your draw out of a hat. Want some water?
I'm okay, thank you. So both players being very thorough here. Glenn had a pretty. I do like his game plan that he had there on the play of just he was able to get in his lumps, and then Rakdos returns gave him a ton of, if June wanted to race, that's fine.
He played like a red deck.
Yeah, if June wanted to try to develop the board and trade and settle down, Rakdos return just blows that angle up pretty nicely. So
this is a matchup where I guess Sphinx's Revelation digs you quite well out of Rakdos' return, right?
Yes,
but there's not a whole lot of tricks otherwise.
Yeah, and June's deck is not super redundant with. He only has 2 Sphinx's Revelation. He also doesn't have negates to fight over. Looks like Glenn's going to 6. He also doesn't have negates to fight over Glenn's his Rakdos returns, and that's sort of.
So they're just going to stay.
Right. If you look at, the either the blue-white or the Bant versus Jund style matchups, where you usually see the Revelation versus the Return, the Sphinx's Revelation deck is much more, has more of them, is much more geared to having them resolve, and often will have negate or dissipate to fight against the opposing Rakdos Return.
So it's just really not symmetrical.
It's not even close to symmetrical. Here is much, much closer to symmetrical.
Sure.
Because, June's not sculpting his whole game plan around. His deck isn't built around Sphinx's Revelation. It's just random power that he's added to his deck, which is fine, but it makes Rakdos Return much better against him.
So, what do you think about June's removal suite? Interesting to me. 4x Searing Spear in the main deck, 0 Pillar of Flame anywhere.
Well, he might just not have.
He might not own it. It's just an expensive.
No, just red mana. He doesn't have red mana on turn 1, and so he just might rather Spear at that point.
I mean, Spear is, exceptional against Hellrider, right?
Yes.
But, Pillar of Flame, as we've seen earlier in the day, has certain applications that are highly desirable.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Messenger and
Yeah.
Grave Callers and whatnot. So Glenn with a mulligan to 6 starts off the action with a Pilgrim on the draw.
And
There's
Searing Spear.
There's Searing Spear. Off of his untapped Steam Vents.
It's probably just going to have Farseek here. Make it all up.
Oh, he's stuck. Oh, boy.
Very bad.
We'll see.
Farseek.
I mean, yeah, June's very far ahead, but at least Glenn now, if he has his own Farseek or something, can get something going.
Just go like Land Smiter.
Yeah. I suspect it's going to be not as good here as it was in the second game if that were to be the sequence.
How good was it in the second game? It got in a couple times.
It was very solid. It was very good. He had an accelerant, and it definitely did some good work.
Better or worse work than a Shuko on
Couldn't possibly be better. Impossible to be better.
Land up, Root Craig, and
Oh no!
a
All right,
4/4.
let's see how this. Let's see where this.
You think it's?
Oh, no! June,
and he's
come
got
on!
Another Searing Spear.
June, come on! We were playing a friendly game, and now this,
He's got Resto Angel and Searing Spear.
and now the Smiter can't attack or doesn't want to trade with the slime, obviously.
I think he should have attacked.
Yeah, just because of Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
He can't win if he has it, right?
Searing Spear down, and Resto Angel.
This is like on Modo, Glenn would just have the big screen of just like the big Loxodon Spider or whatever.
Is that a Wolf Run?
Yep.
You just have a huge Wolf Run, a
Huge spider.
and a Wolf
Zoomed in on the elephant art. Sure.
Resto Angel again? Oh my god. This is just absurd.
June, come on.
Glenn just keeps peeling lands.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's gonna take like 9 this turn, but 6, yeah. Put him down.
Just no mercy.
Oh,
just no
come
mercy.
on.
Just and there it is.
It's unclear if he was scooping up his cards because that was actually the actions that were supposed to be taken.
June, you 2-1 over Glenn Jones. 2